Hello guys, it's Katie and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys my exact process for how I price my crochet items. So in general, this is pricing for markets, for any sort of orders I do. Anytime I'm selling my plushies, which is what I primarily sell, but anytime I'm selling anything, this is my guidelines and exactly how I price my items. So there are, of course, many different ways you can price your items. This is just my process and exactly how I do it and what has worked out well for me. Just one note before we get into today's video is I did want to mention to you guys I have a lot of other businessy videos, such as market videos, such as how to get started selling your items, how to get started selling at markets, all of that kind of stuff and much more. I've already made very detailed videos on, so I will leave those links below for you guys for the playlist for all the business videos, as well as business videos that I think you will find helpful. That way, hopefully, I've already answered your questions in those videos. So I just wanted to mention that because I know on these business videos a lot of times I get questions that I have already answered in a lot of detail in previous videos. Now it's okay if you ask a question that I've already answered in previous videos. Just wanted to let you know that I have already made previous videos if you want to check those out beforehand. Now a little breakdown on pricing and a little bit of business talk before we actually get into my example of pricing an item. There are three main things to consider when you are pricing your items, and a fourth one which I'm going to mention to you, but it doesn't always apply. But first is your material cost. So yarn, stuffing, safety eyes, hooks, everything that you need to crochet with, all of those materials. Second is what you want your hourly wage to be. Third is how long each item you're selling takes you to make. And then the fourth and final thing that will apply to some people and won't apply to others is other sorts of fees. So if you're selling online somewhere like Etsy where there is fees for listing your items and shop fees, then you want to include that somewhere and maybe add a couple dollars to your prices to include that. Or another example is if you're selling at markets and craft fairs, you'll probably have like $30, $50, something like that per event to go to the event and to set up. So that would also need to be included in your pricing. Now for the first thing, as far as materials cost, there is a lot of different ways you can track this. I personally don't track everything. I don't make it super difficult on myself. I just kind of add a few dollars to my hourly wage to include materials, at least is what I say. Now, if you guys want a reference for being really specific and tracking your items, I personally haven't used this, but I've heard really good things about Crochet with Bays, which is Bailey on Instagram, and her website and everything. I'll link it below. But I've heard really good things about her spreadsheet that you can buy off her website, and it gives you all the instructions on how to calculate how much yarn you're using, how much polyfill you're using, how much safety eyes would cost per each plushie. All of that kind of stuff is included within her spreadsheet as far as I understand. So if you're interested in that, I will, like I said, link her website and her Instagram below so you can watch her videos where she's talked about it, as well as in general go on her website and read the listing and everything about it. If you want to be super specific with how much materials you are using per item, that's what I recommend, is to check out her stuff. Now, like I said, I don't have any experience with it. I've just heard other people talk about it and recommend it, so that's why I'm recommending it to you. Now, as far as what I do, like I said, I just add a couple dollars to my hourly wage. So as far as figuring out what you want your hourly wage to be, you need to base that off of where you live and the income of the people around you. So here in Florida, minimum wage, I believe right now is $11.50, but it's gonna go up to $12.50 in September or something, I want to say. I don't really know, you guys. I just have been basing it off $11 or $12 is minimum wage. And of course you want to make sure you're not giving yourself minimum wage only. You want to make sure you're giving yourself more than that per hour, because your time and your skills and everything is worth a lot more than minimum wage, I promise you. So please make sure you are giving yourself more money for your hourly wage than just what minimum wage is in your area. So for me, with that all being considered, I decided that I want to make somewhere between like $16 and $17 per hour. And that's just like an estimate, because my actual tracker, which I'm going to get into the tracker, but on my tracker app, what I have my hourly wage set at is $20. And I say that those extra like $3 to $4 includes the material cost, is basically what I do, so that I don't have to sit down and do the math and weigh out how much polyfill I'm using and how much yarn I'm using, weigh the skein before I start crocheting and then weigh the skein after. All of that is just personally for me way too much to figure out, so I just like adding a couple dollars to my hourly wage and then saying that is the material cost. Now, like I said, you can do all of the math if you really want to, but for me, not my thing, so I really don't want to. Now, as far as my tracker and how I figure out how long an item is taking me to make, I use this app that is called Time Track Pro. I will insert a picture on the screen of what it looks like. It's definitely available on iOS because I have an iPhone. I hope it's available for other phones. I really hope so, fingers crossed. I did a previous video sort of similar to this where I told you guys how I tracked my prices, and I actually used to use a different app. I mentioned that different app in the previous video, and now that app at least no longer is on iOS anymore. I've gotten a few different comments on that video, people saying, oh, it works for me, I have an Android, or oh, it works for me, I have this phone. So it may still work for you. I'll link that video below, because that video is also like the how to start selling your items, which is a good one for you to watch as well. But as far as the app I mentioned in that video, for majority of people, I don't think that app is available anymore. But anyways, that's why I'm making this updated video, and I'm actually showing you my exact like process of how I do this. But anyways, let me quit rambling. So this app is called Time Track Pro, and like I said, gonna put the picture on the screen. Here's what it looks like, and I'm gonna do a little screen recording on my phone so you can see what it looks like when you go in the app. So the only thing I've made so far is this unicorn this week, but what I want to show you is the settings and how to add your hourly wage, and then after that we're going to get into how to actually track how long an item takes you. So you want to hit the button in the top left corner that is the 4 little lines, and then you can go down here to your settings, and here you want to make sure that your hourly wage is set to whatever you want it to be. So that is under default project hour rate. And as you can see, I have mine in here as $20. And then under the default hours worked, you want to make sure that that is set to 00, because for some reason, if that isn't set to 0, it will automatically add like an hour to your project when you're first starting and you haven't even worked on it for like a minute. So that part's kind of weird, because then it'll tell you an item that took you an hour is worth $40 instead of $20, for example. So in general, make sure that's set to 00. I'm not sure exactly why you would want it set to like an hour or a minute or whatever before you've even started the project. But anyways, all of this I just have zeroed out or under not set, other than the default project hour rate, and like I said, that is set to $20 an hour, to where I make about 16 or 17, and then the rest of that is material cost. Or maybe even less of that is material cost. I don't know. I just like round on that. But anyways, now that you have your settings set up for this, there is also a ton of other things here that you can do with this app. I have not explored all of it. If you feel like exploring it and you want to use this app for more than what I use it for, then great. But in this video, I'm just sharing with you how I use it. But yeah, there's a lot more features that I don't use that could be handy if you want to use them. So now that I've showed you the app and showed you how to put in your hourly rate and make sure that the settings are correct and everything, we're going to go to a clip now where I'm going to be crocheting a project and tracking the time with you guys, so you can see exactly how it works for an item that I am tracking and for it to give me the price. Now, one other thing that I did want to note before we go on to me actually making a project and tracking it is, once you have made a pattern once, you don't have to ever retrack it again. unless you decide to change your hourly rate. Let's say prices keep going up in my area for yarn and everything, and I decide that I want to be making like $22 an hour to include more material cost or something like that. Then I would either have to retrack all of my items for how long they take with the $22 an hour now set, or I would have to do the math for it, which would also be a little bit difficult. But anyways, at least once you have tracked the pattern once, you don't have to retrack it again, and you just know from now on, every time I make this pattern, it takes me around 30 minutes, or it takes me around an hour to make this pattern, so I need to charge X amount for this, if that makes sense. I hope it does. But anyways, with that little note in here, let's now go to the footage of me crocheting an item so you can see exactly how the process works of tracking the time. Alright, so now we are to the portion of this video where I am going to be crocheting an item so that you guys can actually see how it looks within the app for actually tracking an item, and then how you figure out the pricing from there. So I am making one of my whales from my No Sew Whale pattern. I am making this color because I made this for my last market and it sold out. So this is Bernat Baby Blanket in Pretty Girl, and then the color white, and I will leave that as well as other materials that I'm using linked below. But I'm going to go ahead and be on this side so I can put the screen recording here of what the app looks like as I start tracking this. Now I have tracked this already in the past, so I'm just going to start it new and pretend like I haven't. So when you're first on the app, this is what it looks like, and then you're going to hit the 4 lines in the corner, and here you want to hit tracker. Now at the top where it says click for project selection, you want to hit that. Now I have a Winthrop pop-up market and orders set up because Winthrop pop-up market is the pop-up market that I've been to, so that's what I'm putting this under. And then orders is obviously orders. You can put whatever you want here for clients. And then under projects, I have pretty much everything that I have made and tracked so far. So you can see my whale pattern is already there, but like I said, I'm just going to track this as if I haven't tracked it before. So I'm going to instead hit the plus button instead of hitting something else. And once I've done that, this is what it looks like. So it has my hourly rate already set at 20 and everything. So for the project name, I'm just going to type in whale for this and hit done, and then hit the save button. And then it comes up with task. I don't put anything here. I'm not sure exactly what you would want to put there. If there is something you want to put there, then of course you can. But for me, I don't put anything there, so I just hit the done button. And this is what it looks like. So now I'm going to go ahead and get myself set up to crochet. And then I will hit the start button and track the time I am crocheting. If I take any breaks, of course, I pause the timer. And then of course, start back once I am crocheting again. So I'm going to sit here and crochet a full whale so we can see exactly how long this takes. And then of course I will show you how to end the timer and all of that as well. So you can see here on the screen that it is tracking how long it's taking me. And then let's say I need to take a break. I would just hit the pause button. And as you can see, it has paused, and it does actually track how long you have the project paused for. That part doesn't really matter, but it does track that. But just know that it tracking that is not adding to the price. As you can see here, it's been paused for a few seconds and the price is not going up. It's only going up when I'm actually tracking the time. So I'm going to go ahead now and crochet this off camera, and then I will show you the final product as well as show you how to end this and get the final price. Okay, so I'm almost done here. I am sewing this closed, which you guys, I must have been crocheting extremely fast because this says it's been 17 minutes. And I know I was dragging it like the full time I was crocheting. I don't know how, but whenever I listen to music and just have like it blasting in my earbuds, I crochet like 10 times faster. I don't know how or why. So anyways, the previous time I tracked this, it suggested about $10 for me. Now it's suggesting $6, and I'm almost done. So I'm gonna still keep charging these for 10 because they sell for 10, but that goes to show you how quick this pattern is. Anyways, but what I recommend is when you are tracking your projects, crochet at your normal speed. That way you know exactly how much to charge for each one. But anyways, we'll just pretend that I crocheted at normal speed. So I just paused the timer, hit the red button here to stop the timer, and then as you can see it just went away. So I'm going to go to the little lines in the corner there, and then I'm going to hit overview, and you can see here that the whale is listed, and this is listed by week. So this is week 9. That's how long I've been using this app. You can also change what you're seeing. So if you want to see everything you've ever made that you've tracked on the app, you would hit this button in the right corner that looks like a grid pretty much. And you can see all time, you can see week view, you can see calendar, you can see a whole bunch of stuff. So I'll just show you all time so you can see. And I'm just going to scroll through so you can kind of see the items I've made and what I've tracked. Now that's just an idea of some of the items that I've made and tracked on that app. I still have some items that I go based off of the $20 an hour that I had in the previous app that I used. So anyways, you guys, that is my overview of how to track an item for your crocheting and figure out how long an item actually takes you. And then that app gives you the exact amount you should be charging for it. Now you definitely want to make sure that you round up. So if the timer stops and it says you should be charging like $6.30 or something like that, round up to 7 or even 8. I like to use numbers that are like 8, 10, 12. I don't really like to use odd numbers. I'm not sure why, but I don't really like to use odd numbers. So I will round up to something like that normally. So this, even though it suggested like 6, I've been selling these for 10 and they sell for 10. So you could also up a little bit if you want to from what the app tells you. And in general, just go with what you think. If an item isn't selling for you at a specific price, try lowering it by a couple dollars if it's something you can lower. If it's something that you're already selling at like your bare minimum, then don't ever change the price. The right person will come along to purchase it from you. But if it's something like this and they just stopped selling, I obviously know that I could charge about $8 for them instead of the 10. So I could change my price to that if I really wanted to. But like I said, these sell for 10, so might as well. Alright you guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really hope it was helpful for you guys to know my exact process of how I track my items. And again, it's not anything super fancy. I know there's a lot of other different ways you could do this. I just wanted to share my exact way of doing it so you guys get an idea of at least where to start. And if you use my process and you don't like it and you want to try doing something else, like being super scientific with the amount of yarn you're using and everything, then by all means go for it. But this process is just what has worked for me, so that is what I wanted to share in today's video with you guys. So if you did enjoy hearing my process and you found it all helpful, please do give this video a big thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below if you found it helpful. All of your feedback I always love to hear in the comments down below. And if you guys did enjoy this video and you don't want to miss out on videos like this in the future, as well as any other videos I post, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the post notification bell. That way you know every single time I upload a brand new video. Liking and subscribing and commenting on my videos really does help out my channel, so thank you in advance if you do any of those things. And if you guys do want to see more from me, you can always check out more videos of mine, my blog, my Etsy shop, my Ribbler shop, all of my social medias, and my second channel. All of that is always included in the description box of every single video for you guys. So with all of that, thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys here in the next one. Goodbye!